are very happy to introduce you this dress, the Tanagra dress that we have reproduced with the help of Cristina Topiano, who is a Master of Arts in Liberal Studies candidate with a fashion studies track here at the Graduate Center, the University of New York. So, who was Rosa Genoni? Because Rosa Genoni designed this dress in 1908, and she designed this dress for herself first. So she wore this dress in order to attend. She was a delegate in Rome, the first International Congress of Women in Italy.
If I can take my reform beyond the confines of Venice, I shall be only too glad to feel that I am feminist. In these days when women's congresses and feminist demands are so fashionable, it might at first appear to our female readers somehow frivolous and light that we concern ourselves with the demands of fashion. Already in some of these heads a refrain is trotted out. Finally, women will have something else to occupy themselves with other than their usual dresses and little hats. A huge mistake, also for the feminist ladies. Nothing could be further from the truth. As a matter of fact, in order to conquer those fields that are still contested, women must not disregard the field in which she, by unanimous consent, has a complete and uncontested sovereignty. It is necessary, now more than ever, not to allow ourselves to be criticized and censored for the way in which we have until today exercised our sovereignty.
Now, to me, it was striking to see that she decided to go with this dress and read the speech about the relationship between fashion and feminism. This is something that only in the last few years scholars have been starting to write about. This is a dress, very elegant, very feminine, but at the same time is a dress that the wearer, the woman herself, can modify. The inspiration was from the Greco-Roman classical antiquity, with the idea of drapery. This is the only version that exists of this dress, so we are very proud of this, that we are, especially because this is part of this exploration of the Fabric of Cultures project, the system in the making, which means a lot of things, systems of power, but also system, of really understanding certain concepts, the emotional part of fashion, the body, gender issues and feminism, and how, for example, Rosa Genoni thought of conceiving of this dress. And then again, this you can really understand from the way Cristina, from the dress right here, we have the object right here, it's not a photograph. So, and I think that is very, very important also for the question of pedagogy and research, to understand Genoni thought better, but also to understand what it means, really the making dress and the performance. The idea that she thought of it also in modern terms, in terms of performance, and the way a woman wearing the dress, and the way she moves, or she decides that one day she wants to have this on her shoulder, so then it changes. So it's really this concept that now we call, in fact, performance studies.
the Rosa Giannoni's Tanagra dress is the beauty of it that can be manipulated and wrapped many different ways, and she uses brooches and pins to wrap it. I can show you a few different ways in which we can wrap the dress. It goes around the back, all the way back to the front. The wearer to throw it over the shoulder and put another brooch here. Often pictured in one of Rosa Giannoni's lookbooks. It would be tied at the waist, like so.
The book is Per una moda italiana, for an Italian fashion, right?
Yes.
She published in 1909 and then 1910.
And the book that also Professor Paulicelli showed me had many different views, showing all the different ways at which the garment could be wrapped. She then would utilize a brooch to secure it, like so. I'm not going to put it all the way through because I want to wrap a few different ways. So this would be one way. The wearer would take the longer piece and hold it in her hand like so, and throw it over her shoulder.
And the picture where Lida Borelli.
Yes, so that's my favorite picture.
Yes, wearing the dress in many different poses, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, which was very confusing because she showed me different poses and not one way. So I had to think of all the ways while creating the one garment. So then another way that she wrapped it, let me put this brooch down, is towards the back. Just like so. This was a more evening look. It almost created a bustle below the hips and a nice train.
What kind of silk is this, Cristina?
This is a silk georgette. We have a silk charmeuse and a silk georgette. We picked the white color to stand for women empowerment, suffragette movement, and we also wanted to be sustainable and choose fabrics that the fashion industry was just wasting. So that's another beautiful thing about the garment. We did not purchase the fabric at all, so we wanted to utilize what was already out there. Yes, so I hope you get the idea of this very multi-dimensional garment. Very simple, but very difficult.
But very dynamic.
Very dynamic,
it's a
that's
dress
the word,
that transforms. In fact, I called it the first example of dynamic dress because the futurists later will talk about of dress and dynamism and then how they transform.
The impotent, the inept, and the crazy, with their air of being misunderstood geniuses, complain about present civilization, which they call scientific, mechanical, and industrial, and declare that they are enemies of art and of its lovers. These people do not realize that from the blossoming of this very new civilization, different from, indeed, the exact opposite of any other before it, the very modern forms of beauty, it is around such beauty that the reality of life meets the ideal vision, the truth of science meets the fluctuating and indeterminate space of fantasy.